LifeSpeak podcast sponsored by Chafin Real Estate Services.
Episode, and we're continuing our conversation with Angela and Gina about Reno's Miracle Baby. I'm just going to say that right now. Reno's Miracle Baby.
So now you know how it ends.
Well, you said 2 children, so
yes, I know, right?
So go ahead, Angela, and continue on.
All right,
where we were in the.
Yeah.
You did make it home to Reno.
Yes, we made it back.
There was no ambulance calls.
No ambulance called, shell-shocked. I had my dear friend Lisa was over with a blood pressure machine. They said you have to be in bed. You could have seizures at any point. You can't drive a car. You shouldn't be alone with your son.
Oh, my goodness.
And you need to be taking a blood pressure I think it was 3 times a day, and taking in samples to see if there was any protein coming through my body. So my husband had to go drop off samples. So that was the rules. Now, the next day, as soon as we woke up, we had a call from our OBGYN here in town, like, you're going straight to Renown. We're admitting you, and we're supervising you. Okay. And so we're like, oh, great. Like, we thought we had a week or 2, even though we wanted this all to be over with. Right. Like, waiting is so tough when you're going through something, and then you're like, oh, you get to wait 2 weeks for your next scan to see if your cancer's there, or you've got to wait a month. So it was just that, basically treading water and desperately, like, take this cup from me, Lord. I want this done so I can start grieving. Because after that appointment, of course, 0 hope. And now we're like, well, hopefully I don't die too. So we went to Renown, and it was, very kind of, they admitted me, and my husband was there. And once again, Gina wanted to come and help with our son, who is a very active 1-year-old. While they set up a meeting with the neonatologist. So that is the doctor in the hospital that will take care of the newborns, the preemies, and the neonatologist nurse. So if by some rare, incredible miracle she actually made it through delivery, this is what you're looking at. So we hadn't had that conversation yet with the doctor because there was really no hope. And so they set up this appointment, and Gina came into the room.
Can I interrupt for a second?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the difference between UCSF saying that we can only work with this many grams, and now you're in Reno, and they're not saying that?
Well, no, we hadn't got to that part of the conversation.
Okay.
When we left UCSF, I'm like, we're going to get her, we're going to pray, and we're going to do whatever it takes. And he was just like, okay, you do that. I think you try, it's not going to work out for you. But no, we had at no point really felt there was an option for her to survive in any way, shape, or form. And I think, I could be wrong, but maybe the information got to Renown that, or to this that they refused an abortion. And so there might be a slim chance this baby survives. And if they do, they need to know what they're in for, like if she happens to. Now, that's all me just assuming. Nobody said this to me, but the fact that we were being admitted for my health and the neonatology team came in to talk to us, is, begs to differ that could be the case. Right. And so Gina was in that appointment trying to manage my little son that was just so incredibly gun shy with this cute nurse. Like, he was just flirting with her. And
this is what, your 1-year-old?
Yeah. He was like, he was just enamored with her. He kept looking at her.
Because he's got big, beautiful eyes.
I know.
And
he was like, oh, there's this pretty girl here. And then he loves...
Isn't it amazing how they start so young?
No, nobody encouraged
this. I know. My grandson was that way with, like, all the girls when he was like 2 or 3.
I want to marry her.
Really exactly.
I want to marry her.
Exactly. It's so
I'm
funny.
like, dude, turn it down. You got a lifetime. And he's like a true boy, like buttons and wheels. And I had a really fancy bed. And so we'd be getting this devastating news, and my bed would be like, bzz, bzz, bzz. And so you couldn't help but it was these little moments of Disney laughter during this most awful conversation you could possibly be having. And so, Gina, maybe you could share a little bit about that appointment, because you were yet again another witness.
Well, it was an appointment where I was an awkward witness, because it was a very intimate moment with Michael and Angela. As, they were given more information, and none of it was positive. And there was tears, and it was difficult. The room was large, and so they're over on this one side of the room, and Angela's in a bed, and Michael's right there, and they're in tears, and I'm sitting over on the other side of the room, trying to give them their moment.
Right. It would be very difficult.
And, try and, handle Nathaniel. And just looking over there at one point, and I don't know really the gist of their conversation, but, Michael breaking down and saying, I just want my baby girl, and curling up in bed with Angela. And, it's these moments that, you're on the outside and all you're doing is praying for this baby girl. And, that these doctors are wrong. And the doctor that they had was going back and forth, where he was very negative as far as this is what it looks like. This, 0% chance that this baby's going to survive. And to hear his tone change over the course of an hour, when I believe he realized they weren't giving up. Wow. This is going to happen. And
So how did
him
his
coming
tone-
about and saying, okay, we're going to do whatever we can to give you moments with her. And what they're going to do afterwards to give them an opportunity to spend some time with their baby girl. And he didn't go beyond that, but to see him change and to see his demeanor change and for him to soften his stance was a blessing.
Right. Because it started off with very much like, oh, well, your baby's probably not going to survive. And if your baby...
such distress.
Yeah, and then if she does survive, this is what's going to be wrong with her. She won't walk. This is what we see. She won't walk. She won't talk. She'll be mentally handicapped. She'll be deaf. She'll be blind. So basically, this is what you're looking at, and so you're going to want to. She'll be dead, or you're going to want to hold her. And it's called comfort care. You might want to bring a special blanket in, and then this is what's going to happen. And she's going to be gasping for breath, and she will make sounds, and you'll think she's trying to breathe, and this is normal. So you can imagine, like, it's bad enough, like we're going to lose her, but we hadn't really talked about the minutia yet. And this could go on for hours. And that's when we were just like, oh, Lord, like, how do we do this? And I know, people do it every day. And I'm just like, how do you just so helplessly hold your infant as your newborn as they pass? And so that was just next level of trauma. Like, just wait, there's more. Just, it felt like every time we thought, okay, we're going to have to do this. And then you're like, oh, and so it was torturous.
So you were in the hospital, though. Were they saying that you were still in danger at that
Oh,
point?
yeah. That's why they had me in. And they wanted to give me a steroid shot, which helps. By that miracle chance she makes it, it strengthens her lungs, because you will, there's this boost they can give if they think. So if I had gone in emergency delivery at 22 weeks, they can't give you that shot at that point. They can give it to you a few days earlier, so they're like, we're going to do it just in case, but don't get your hopes up. So it was all very much, I believe nobody wanted me to believe in the impossible. And at this point, we had done our research and looked at stories, and we realized, okay, this is impossible. This doesn't happen.
Well, even from my perspective, sorry to interject, but my sister's a PhD in neonatal nursing.
Oh, my goodness.
What a
And
coincidence.
so I had reached out to her, and, it was a text, but I was keeping her informed as far as, what Angela was going through, looking for some positive feedback, something good that I could share.
Right.
And all she wrote back was, I'm sorry.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. And I remember that, her telling me about her sister and all that. And I just remember, like, Gina not being silent, like she didn't come up with information. And that made me think, like, oh, if there was something positive that her sister said, she would have told me, and quite a few at that point, quite a few of our doctor friends are like, we're sorry, but nobody had said, oh, it's going to be okay. I didn't get any of that. Besides the spiritual aspect, as far as those people in your life that were praying for a miracle. Now, they're the ones that would come over and pray over you and be like, this is going to happen. You need to have faith. And you're like, well, I've been in all these appointments. How am I supposed to have faith? We have faith for you. I'm like, okay, well, I was getting a little bitter. Good for you. I'll let you have faith. But, you haven't been in these appointments with me, and you haven't heard what these at this point, we're at the 6th or 5th doctor, have told us. And I will let you pray, because I had washed my hands. I had not given up on God. I had just, I just got to the point where I couldn't talk to him anymore, because
You were exhausted.
I was
draining.
Yeah.
All this information, these doctors, the negativity. Negativity is absolutely draining.
No hope.
And
Yeah. No hope.
So we started and it was primarily women, but a prayer group, and we named it Naomi's Angels.
Because we had our name for her picked out.
Love that.
So even though she was not going to be with us, we knew she was Naomi. We had picked that name before we were even pregnant. If we have a girl, this will be her name. Yeah. And so Gina started this group, and the sole purpose was
to give Angela the opportunity to keep us all informed without having to text this person and then person and
multiple.
Who did I tell this, and how do I keep everyone informed? And it was really prior to, I believe, it's been a while ago, and it's hard to remember, because it's like, well, why didn't we do this through Messenger or through any other text messaging? But we found a third-party chat type group that I could invite people to. And so Angela would let me know, who else, so-and-so, we need to add them to keep them included, and to spare her the grief associated with having to regurgitate the same news over and over again. Because there's no positivity in regurgitating sadness.
And having to just and I didn't have the energy, to be quite honest. I'm a pretty good communicator, but someone writes to me, I'll write back right away. But I was just drained. And like I said, I was just like cocooning with my husband and my son. And like a nurse had told me when I had been admitted to Renown for that. I was admitted, then they let me go home for like a week, and then we'll check back on you at 25 weeks. But be really, really careful. And that one nurse, she said to me, she's like, well, just enjoy her while you still have her, So just enjoy your pregnancy. I'm like, do my best, but I'm not sure how I do that. Yeah. Knowing her death, we're counting down to her death day, or it could be the next 20 minutes, who knows.
And it could be you.
Yeah, and it could be me. And honestly, like out of this whole process, I was just sharing how I'd kind of given up on God, not given up on him. I was done talking to him. Right. I'm like, here's my request. I have begged, I have pleaded, I have bargained. I did all sorts of bargaining. There was a really powerful moment. I was putting my son to bed and to a nap, and I was just, okay, God, And I had a conversation with Naomi, and I just started describing her world, her brother, her friends, her where we live, and Lake Tahoe, and when we go to Australia one day. And I just had this conversation. I was like, I can't wait to meet you, and I want to run. It was very specific. I want to run with you and hold your hand, and run, because they told me she probably she did. And I'm like, just had this moment with her, and then I'm like, God, I know you can. I don't think you will, but I know you can. Yeah. And I am done. I have told you what I need to tell you. I have cried enough tears. I'm just going to be a little bit of a zombie going through this. And that's when, Naomi's Angels and friends, I'm like, I can't pray. Like, don't worry. We got this. We're going to we will pray for you. Yeah. And my husband still had faith. He was facing reality. He's a realist, but he's still like, you never know. And I'm like, I was doomsday, Debbie Downer at that point, and just get me through this. And,
well, negativity and words are very powerful. And when you kept hearing the same diagnosis or declaration, if you want to say, it's very difficult to go with what you were hearing.
Absolutely.
I mean, I know that there's a verse in the Bible that says about hanging on to Jesus's faith.
Yeah.
That mustard seed is so small, but it's his faith, that rose people from the dead. It's his faith that healed the blind man.
Yeah.
It wasn't, where is your faith? If it's not in Christ's faith, because we don't have any at that moment.
Right.
When I was
Absolutely.
when I was diagnosed with cancer, I had night terrors for a month, and I'm like, what is going on here? And God spoke to me. He says, "You're afraid to die," and I'm like, well, I'm really not.
Yeah.
I'm afraid to leave everybody,
Right.
but I'm not afraid to die.
Yeah.
And then the joy kicked in.
Yeah.
So I think I was just tired of hearing the negativity.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I'm going to die, I'm going to die. I'm good to go.
Right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's wherever you are at the time, and the fact that you had Naomi's angels.
Yeah.
I would have been one of those.
Oh,
I would have been one of those. 'Cause
thank you. Yeah. It was pretty special. I don't even really quite know. Some people ended up on it that I wasn't that close to, but it didn't matter. It was
Didn't
just like
matter.
whoever was there, and I was able to just kind of download, particularly as after she was born, but before, just we're praying, support, love, just all the beautiful things. And I was getting that from everywhere. Like people were just heartbroken for us, right? And pouring in this love as we were stepping closer to what it was going to look like.
Exactly.
And yeah,
It's almost like this countdown of
it was.
minutes, not even days. It's minutes.
yeah,
Because it felt.
We didn't know what one day would bring. We just knew we had to show up at the specialist at 25 weeks, the one that told me everything was wrong, and we would go from there. And so we were just okay. She's gonna have grown. She's gonna have grown. She's gonna have grown. We'll pack our bag just in case, because she said, I get the feeling that when you come in next time, you're gonna go straight to the hospital. And so it had been a couple weeks, and we're like, nope, she's gonna have grown. Everyone's praying. Everybody seems to have faith about this, even the doctors don't. And we're going to come back home. So my mother-in-law had come down to watch our son because it was day by day at that point, like you said, minute by minute. And so if I had to be rushed off to the hospital, we wouldn't be, calling people to take off work and whatnot. And so we're like, we're getting the scan, but we'll be back. I got my bag packed just in case, but we'll be back. And that's when we didn't come back. We went straight to the hospital. So not only was I had started showing protein, so I was starting to get into preeclampsia, but the umbilical reversal the flow that I told you about earlier had started happening. That means it was going to start attacking me.
Okay.
And they're like,
And how many weeks was she at that?
That was 25 weeks to the day.
To the day.
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe it might have been 25 weeks in one day, but it was 25 weeks and July 1st.
So what was the events that?
All right, so then things moved very quickly. And she had said, you need to go to Reno and you need to have this baby. And so we just one more defeat, one more massive crush, like this is it. This is happening today. Okay. And we were just terrified about what the next few hours have got. Like I knew, well, I'm going to be okay, I think, because I'm going to be in hospital. That's what I was saying. At no point, I didn't really have a big fear about me. It's really strange. I didn't have that.
And I didn't hear that.
No.
I mean, it was all about
the baby.
The baby.
Yeah, and so that was 100%. Like I didn't have peace about Naomi. I was angry with God and not talking to him at this point. But I had a peace there that was not normal, I think, for someone that might be facing a situation, you could die in 30 minutes. So I just almost didn't give that thought, space in my head because there was too much other stuff to concentrate on. Anyhow, so we call, tell everyone it's terrible, we're on our way. We go to Reno and we sit in the parking lot and cry and hug each other and pray. And we walk in and there's like this team waiting for us. They're like, we've been waiting because we're only...
So you did talk to God, you prayed.
Yeah, as a couple, yes.
See?
I'll say my husband did, No, yes. But I was like, okay, we're here, God. Yeah. We're going to have to go through this. Help us through this kind of thing. Help us get through the next however many hours this is going to take and recovery. and whatever you've got in store for us. And so it's only 5 minutes from Renown, our hospital here in Reno. And we get in, and there's a group waiting for us. Like, we've been waiting for you. And we were just kind of calling, headed over there, praying in the parking lot. And they're like, the nurse said, this is going to move quickly. You're going to be in surgery in this amount of time. Like, and I'm like, oh, we don't just walk in and get the epidural and have the baby like last time. And there was maybe 3 people, with us. And so we have this neonatologist. It's a different one because they work in shifts.
Right.
And
they're like hospitalist almost.
No, this is they do. Yeah, they go from hospital to hospital, but they're the specialists. I mean, they take care of these premature babies. And so it was different than the one that had given us all the bleak news a few weeks earlier, because they do these 2-week shifts.
Right.
And then between 6 of them, they each do 2 full weeks at the hospital, night and day. And then they move to another hospital, and then they're off for a week. And so it was a different one, which I believe is the hand of God. And while this neonatologist wasn't a believer that I know of, I remember talking to someone later, sharing my story, and she said, was it this doctor? And I said, yeah. She goes, he's the one. He's the one that would have taken a chance on her. And so we go in, and he's like yelling at me, like, what do you want to do? What do you want to do with your baby? And I'm he was, because it's emergency, right? And we're like, why are you yelling at me? Like, this is a time to be kind to me, and he's like, what do you want to do with your baby? And we're like, what do you mean? What do we want to do? Do you want us to resuscitate? And I'm like, that's not an option anybody had told us about. Like, we're like, she's dead or she's dying. What do you mean resuscitate? And so we had not thought about this.
Comprehended.
Yeah, we had not, I had not played the scenario out. What do you mean? And he's like, well, do you want us to try? He goes, it won't work. We're not going to get a tube down a throat, but would you like us to try? So I'm giving you zero hope, but I want to. And I'm like, and he's like, you realize what'll happen, and she'll be this and she'll be that. And I'll be like, I know. I was so, nice Angela was gone. I was like, I know. We know what her life will be bleak. And Michael's like, well, of course we would want you to try. Are you sure she could, He's like, of course. We didn't realize you could. All these doctors, all these things, it was almost like it was never an option. Like, don't engage in that thought, because this has not been done before with a baby this small. And so he said, we will try, but it will be too small. She if we get it down, she won't have a voice, because they only make the tubes so small.
Right. Right.
So we go in.
It'll hurt her vocal
Yeah, it'll
cords.
just damage them. It'll either tear her up. They're not even going to be able to get it down. But her cords will be damaged, and we're like, try. Like, this is the most hope we've had through this whole journey, besides praying and hoping. And so, we got rushed in. I mean, there was teams of people in this room. I mean, it wasn't as simple as it was with my son. It was a whole team for me, the whole neonatology team off in the corner, my doctor, another doctor, a handful of nurses. And I mean, it was that alone was very alarming to me as they're wheeling me in, and I'm just terrified. Michael, my husband, had to leave while they gave me the epidural, and I was just broken. I mean, how do I do this? I don't want to do this. Yeah. And I felt trapped in my body. Like, I want to get up and run. And I don't want to go through this, God. I don't want to go through this. And when I had talked about not being able to pray and being able to talk to God, 2 different people said to me, oh, you don't have to pray. You just have to say Jesus.
That's right.
And she said, there's power in that name.
That's right.
And there was a song at the time, too. It was just say Jesus. And
oh my God.
Someone sent it to me, and it's like, don't worry about the words. Just say his name. Right. And so I'm leaning into this nurse, and they're doing my spine, and I am sobbing. I'm not a sobber in public person, and and I'm just like, all right, all bets are off, and just weeping and just saying, Jesus, Jesus, because I had no words. There's nothing. He knows. We've said it all.
Yes.
And just desperate for my husband to come back in, and he comes back in, and we're just, and lying there, and the neonatologist and his team is over in the corner over here, just, it's not their show yet, and he's watching this. And right before Michael came in, he comes up, and I'm just lying on the bed waiting for him to come in. I'm just like being quiet because I didn't want to make a scene. And he just touches me, And and he goes, I'm going to do everything I can to save your baby.
Oh my God.
And that was like, because no one had said that to me. No one had told me. And it was this moment like, and I've heard sometimes doctors make the call according to the parent, which is horrific, but they could see how desperately we wanted this baby, even if this baby was going to be terribly handicapped. They're like these people. And he gave me that moment of, wow, you're nice. Like, you're not yelling at me. And oh, you're going to, and so that was a very powerful moment. And then Michael comes in and we're holding hands and just ugly crying at this point. And there's no noise. Everyone's very quiet, just hushed talking. And, with Nathaniel, you hear the cry, right? You hear the baby cry. You know the baby's here. And they have this big sheet up so you can't see what's going on with the C-section. And I just look at Michael and I'm like, she's here. And he's like, she is? And I said, she's here. And then we both, next level, just like, what's going to happen, And I will talk about that in a minute.
Okay. I just want to thank you again for being here, and we are going to continue this beautiful story in the next episode and try to get our makeup back on where it's supposed to be.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much, Angela.
Thanks, Leanne.
Okay.